Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with the Axeman, Alfie Davis, ahead of his PFL semi-final fight against Brent Primus. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Yeah, all good. Ready to
And,
rock.
and how are you feeling ahead of the semi-final fight?
Yeah, good. Training's been going well, camp's been going well, so I just want to get in there now.
And how was it to be able to go into your last fight, obviously against Clay Collard, one of the big names in the PFL, and be able to go out there and get not only just the finish, but in the first round as well?
Yeah, that was good. It made my life easier, just sometimes having a 3 round war's long and it takes a lot of recovery, but that one was done in 2 minutes, so easy night's work.
And did you know that that shot was going to be there? Maybe not in the first round, but even just some point in the fight. Did you know that shot was going to be there, or
Um, I was drilling spinning elbows, but not for the reason of him shooting, because
yeah?
he does this thing where he rushes in. So I thought I might hit him with a spinning elbow that way. But then when you watch it back, he's actually going for a takedown. But I've always done that upwards elbow because of that reason. And I suppose that you could say I was drilling it, but not for that specific reason.
Yeah. And do you feel like that has been part of obviously your at GB top team, which is known as the best gym in the UK? You have got them killing it in Cave Warriors. What is it about you guys that does set you apart from the rest?
Um, I think it's a lot of the coaching. From the head. It's from the head of the coaching, really. They've done really well. Their schedule and the systems that they've put in place that allow people to develop, and the culture that they bring as well is all about improvement and a non-ego environment. So yeah, listen, there's some great teams in the UK, but I definitely
Yeah.
think GB top team are renowned for producing and great talent. So yeah, I'm happy to be there.
And it does seem like the UK have got a lot of their foothold in the PFL now. You also have you doing your thing in the lightweight division. You then have got Jake Hadley doing his thing. You had Babley, who unfortunately didn't go through, but he put on a good performance. And then you had Dakota, who won last year's thing. Do you feel like the UK is now starting to get that foothold in the world scene, not just in the UFC, but in other divisions like PFL.
Yeah, I think we've got a good presence. PFL Europe has done a good job there. I mean, Dan Hardy done a really good job of recruiting a lot of the UK guys, and the UK scene is popping. Like we've got some great talent coming through, um, and it's just showing that we've always had good striking skills, always had good boxing, good kickboxing, and now a lot of the UK teams have learned the MMA style of wrestling, and incorporating that into their practice. So it's just making, I think we're probably arguably one of the best countries around at the minute, especially considering the population we have. Like America's massive, Brazil's
Yeah.
massive, and like the 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 frequency of elite athletes coming out from how little many people we have just sort of shows that our training systems are like superior to a lot of countries.
And then obviously you did have a great career before the PFL. You were in Bellator where you were able to go 8 wins, one defeat. How was that time during that uncertainty of are they going bust? Are they not? How was it for you as a fighter's stance?
Yeah, it was annoying. I mean, I didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
Um, so it was more annoying where the career would go, but yeah, it's all worked out in the end.
And when was it that you found out that you were going to be signed to the PFL? Did they just kind of keep that quite late on, or were they a bit like at the start, you're someone that we are looking to take on?
No, there was definitely some uncertainty for a little while. So yeah, it was a little bit nerve-wracking knowing what was going on, because there was people that I knew getting cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I suppose with a record of 8-1, it's going to be hard to cut me. But yeah, it was still definitely a nerve-wracking time.
And then your last fight with them was on that March 22nd card, where you were able to get that unanimous decision win over Oscar Owensworth. How was that feeling for you?
Yeah, it was good. It was sort of anticlimactic though, because no disrespect to Oscar, I was due to fight a guy called Tofik Musayev, who's
Yeah.
just recently signed to the UFC. And he was a big name, and I felt that would have been a great fight for me, especially considering the matching of styles. Oscar did come in on late notice and he put on a good performance. So yeah, hats off to Oscar. But it was a bit of a anticlimactic win because I suppose I did a camp. He came in late, and I was sort of yeah. I've went from being like a big underdog against a really exceptional talent, and then to fighting someone that they pulled in on late notice. But listen, you got to get the job done. This is the fight business. That's what happens. People pull out all the time, and Oscar is a good fighter, and I managed to beat him. So, still happy looking back on it, but yeah, it could have been even great.
Yeah, exactly. And how does you like change your mindset? Because obviously you were preparing for Tofik, and then that just suddenly all changes, and you have to now quickly try and work out a game plan for Oscar. How is that just where you have to rely on your coaches, and they'll be able to come up with that game plan?
Yeah, I did watch him as well. Luckily, he was a striker. So there wasn't, and Tofik, although he does wrestle quite a bit as well, he's likes to strike as well. So it was a striker being mixed in for a striker. So the camp, yeah, didn't change that much. Obviously, he had some somewhat different skill sets to Tofik, so I had to change. Yeah, sort of just. But I did watch him a little bit, but there wasn't much trying to study and game planning too much within like 10 days notice.
And where do you see your strengths coming into this matchup against Brent compared to maybe like some of your other coming out? Like, what have you mainly improved on?
Um, I think my strengths against him is definitely the striking battle. He's quite a yeah. He's not a skilled striker. I would say he's got some skills in striking, but he's not an advanced striker. I would say. But also I feel like I can surprise him on the floor. He's definitely great at like jujitsu, but his wrestling base isn't amazing. And yeah, and jujitsu is one thing, but when you got punches, the ground and pound, and the wrestling aspect in there, I think that I can surprise him on the floor, and yeah, definitely put my ground skills into practice.
Well, I mean, when he goes in for that takedown, just throw another spinning back elbow and you'll get him. Don't even need to use your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that'd be a good plan, mate. If that works again, that'd be amazing.
And what do you make of like the PFL schedule? Because obviously with Bellator, it is fight by fight. After you do your fight, you then have to try and work out the date that best suits you. Whereas with the PFL, they do have the set dates already lined up. Does that does that help you knowing, okay, this is my next fight, this is the date already. We can start to prepare for that.
Yeah, it's so much better. This is what I'd love to have all the time. I mean, having a schedule, just knowing when you're going to fight, is just yeah, you can plan your life.
Yeah.
That's been the trouble with the MMA career is that you can't really plan your life because you don't know when you're going to fight. But if you have a set dates, it's just so much easier. Also, the fact that it's a season is
Yeah.
great because you can get literally your year's work done within. Obviously, if I win the tournament, I would still like to fight for the title by the end of the year. But essentially, I could get a year's work done in a few months and coast the rest of the year and then go again. But yeah, I mean, the plan for me though would be to win the tournament and then fight whoever's got the title at that time.
And is there any prediction for you for the other fighting, the other half of the bracket, or are you just gonna let them do their thing? Whoever faces you is gonna be a bad day anyway.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the Russian's gonna win it. The Gadzi Radabazov, I can't even
Yeah.
pronounce it, but yeah, he's a dangerous striker, and unfortunately Kevin has been off for a few years. The Dagestani's got not amazing wrestling, but decent enough wrestling, I think, to hold Kevin Lee off. Then when it comes to striking, I think he'll probably knock him out, I suspect. But if it does go to distance, I still think he'll win.
And also they have changed their format from last year, where last year you did have that league phase and then the semi-final, then final. Would you have preferred that league phase and then the knockouts, or do you just prefer just a straight out knockout tournament?
Well, this up and down because the league was confusing as a consumer. Personally, I was watching it and was didn't really understand the point system. It wasn't really that fun to get along with, which sort of diluted the product. But equally, as a fighter, um, you can get more fights that way because even you was having the league like the pre-season and then you went into the stages.
Yeah.
I think some of them were fighting like 5 times in a year. So I mean that'd be great. That'd be amazing. But yeah, just for as a consumer, I would say that it's not good. But selfishly, as an athlete, it would have been great.
And do you have to like also gotta go out there a bit time before, but how is it being able to adjust to the time zone and be able to the climate? Because obviously it is different from being in the UK. You do have that heat, you have the time zone, you have to make that adjustment period.
Yeah, it's not never really affected me to be honest with you. The heat stuff, it's all air conned up, so it's all the same really. And then I mean, I do adjust to the time zone quite quickly, and fight week's never a pleasant time. You're always
Yeah.
just sort of suffering until you get into the fight. So all you're really doing is lying in bed most of the fight week. You go do a little workout and then you lie in bed again. So doing that in a different country is not much of a big deal.
And how did you get the name the Axe Man? Did you just come into the fight with just a big axe?
Yeah, no, I got a quite famous knockout that went viral where I axe kicked someone in the
Yeah.
head. And then I had another knockout in kickboxing with a big axe kick as well. And then I don't know who actually handed me the name, but it would just seem like such a nice name to have, the Axe Man, because of the axe kick, and yeah, I hope to keep axing people down.
And cause I did see that you were on like the Joe Rogan. He got you that clip. How was that for you? Being able to see that like the biggest names be able to give you that recognition.
Yeah, yeah, that was good. That definitely. Obviously, I was a big fan of his podcast. I used to watch it all the time, and then when he shouted me out, I didn't really know it was real. So yeah, it did definitely help me. Yeah, when it happened.
We just sat there and then you just got a lot of tweets just going, "You're on the Joe Rogan podcast."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was literally it blew up. That was a few years ago now, but
Yeah.
that was sort of pre-Instagram. It was more like a YouTube and Facebook era of social media. So it was like 2018, 19. I think I first got mentioned, and then he did re-mention me a couple of years ago, or maybe even last year. I think on Baz Rutten.
And do you feel like that helped you get your name out there a bit more to try and get these bigger fights?
Um,
Because I
I
think you
would
did have
say.
that skill that just gets your name out there.
Yeah, I would say so initially, actually. It definitely helped with me signing to Bellator. I think that and a few other viral knockouts because I did have my debut on Bellator was like a viral sort of spinning back kick that they actually didn't record but had a mobile recording. And then I've had a few other knockouts that have been quite nice, like a knee knockout and a liver kick knockout. They've been quite exciting to watch. So I definitely think my style favors into people wanting to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say that you do bring that exciting pace in the fight as well. Do you feel like that is another thing that you bring to the table for like the PFL and like the UFC is that you're not just gonna stand there, take them down, hold them for 50 minutes. You're gonna stand there and make this a fight. The fans are gonna be on their seat watching, seeing the canvas get bloodied up.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think everyone wants to watch the striking battle. Most people, unless they do jiu-jitsu, don't really like watching it. They want to see people punch and kick each other in the head.
And what you're gonna do once you get that victory against Brent, you're going into that final. How are you celebrating?
After the final, I'm not sure, man. Probably have a holiday, look after the kids. I don't know, maybe go out partying a bit. I'm not sure yet. I'm not planning that far ahead. I'm just taking each day and each fight as it comes.
And I think that's what helps you a lot in these fights, is you're not really thinking too far ahead of the game. You're just solely focused on the first obstacle, then you're going to take it as a goal next.
Yeah, I think a lot of people there's the saying you're counting your chickens before they've
Yeah.
hatched, and that can sometimes bring an anxiety and different sort of emotions that don't aid in your performance. I think like you just think about every exchange and trying to win in that specific exchange and just going with the flow. It definitely helped me earlier on in my career. I used to always be thinking about, oh, I should be saying it like this and like putting it, reading The Secret and like putting it out there and visualizing and this, but life doesn't work like that, you know. And a lot of the books and the motivational speakers will like to tell you it does, but I don't believe it works like that. I believe it's in your work and what you put out there. So yeah.
And and what part was it? Like, at what stage of your career did you realize, hold up, this is something that I can actually do now, like full time? What stage was that?
I suppose when I first started, I was a bit. I suppose you got to be a little bit deluded, but I was a bit deluded into thinking like I'm going to do this for a few years and I'm just going to be earning loads of money. So yeah, maybe when I was 21, I thought, yeah, I definitely knew I had the skill because even at that young age, obviously that was 12 years ago now, I'd be sparring some elite people and we'd be getting the better of them because of my striking background. I just knew that I had something there
Yeah.
that was special. So I always thought that I could go somewhere with it. Um, yeah, but I've still got a bit of the journey to go.
And I was going to say, is that why you had that little amateur career in MMA? It's because you did have that kickboxing background behind you.
Yeah, yeah, that was it really. And back in those days, there was no IMAFs. The amateur credentials were like literally had 3 fights and get in there. And yeah, I just wanted to go pro like early on. I thought that I was 21 and I was like quite old to go pro, but obviously a lot of people now have massive amateur records. But it was a different time. Again, that was 12 years ago.
Yeah. And like you said, it's like you're a big thing a bit old being 21. Now people are going pro when they're like 25, 26. Do you feel like that age where people now were going a few years ago, you have to be in the UFC by the time you're 30? Do you feel like that has now gone now? You don't have to get there because you are seeing a lot of older champions.
Yeah, I think to be a champion, they're definitely older, but I think it's actually the reverse. I think the athlete of MMA is becoming younger. So a lot, I think UFC aren't actually signing people that often over the age of 30. They're actually looking for the younger talent because the younger talent have been doing it for childhood. They've got these amateur pedigrees that they're coming in for, and yeah, I actually think that the athletes are getting younger and younger. But in terms of champions, I think if you could get into the UFC by late 20s, and then you can become a champion because in your 30s, like early 30s to mid 30s, that's when a lot of people are becoming a champion.
And what do you make, obviously, of your division in the UFC? The lightweight division is the most contested one. You have Ilya now moved up from the featherweight division to the lightweight, got that title shot against Oliveira. Do you feel like that was the right call, or would you have preferred him getting a fight in lightweight first, testing the waters, and with a win, being able to get that shot after that?
No, I actually think I think it's a correct call. I mean, when you beat Volkanovski, the guy was like probably the featherweight goat, and then you go and beat Max Holloway as well, who was
Yeah.
arguably another featherweight goat in the way that he did. Um, I think it's a good call. I don't. I think it's a bit out of order that he didn't. Obviously, he's got a title shot now, but I'd like to have seen him against Makachev. To be honest with you,
And if you had to come up with your number one fighter, what would it be a combination of? You could have like John Jones striking, Makachev wrestling. If you had to build the perfect fighter, what would it be?
good question. I don't know. I'd like Khabib's wrestling with probably John Jones's ground and pound, and then striking wise, I don't, there's a lot of variability within striking. But I quite like the way Wonder Boy Thompson does it. If you could get that with a really strong wrestling base, I think that would be a nice nice style to have.
And they just add in at the end the signature Alfie David axe kick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be good.
Just see that in the world stage. And
Yeah, yeah.
what was it about the tournament that most drew you to
Well, the money.
it?
Nah, nah. Nah, yeah, to be honest with you, they offered it to me, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll do that. Um, but I do like the style of tournament as well.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't say I was drawn to it. It was just what was offered. But that is a style that I think is good for me. Is tournament.
yeah, because you already have got a lot of high fat, high quick knockouts, like against Clay Collard, so you do prefer that quick action. What do you make of a lot of organisations now having these tournaments? You do see Octagon having a similar tournament with their Tipstar for the year long. You have Cage Warriors that tried, I think last year. Not they've not had one yet, but they did their one night tournaments. What do you make of like those type of tournaments and that?
Yeah, I like a tournament. It creates a story, from I grew up watching K1 tournaments,
Yeah.
K1 World Max tournaments. That's what really like got me into fighting. Also kickboxing, the style that I come from, was a lot of tournaments. But I think it's exciting to watch, especially because you can see who's gonna fight who. There's like, who's gonna win that. It creates a story. I actually think it's a I mean, the UFC don't do tournaments, but at the top end of the division, everyone knows who's likely to fight everyone. They've got a similar thing with that, but some promotions didn't have that luxury before. But now I think with the tournaments, I think it does that.
Yeah, exactly. Just adds that just a little bit more excitement, which values the people that like just especially the one night ones where you need to get that finish so you can rest up and not take too much damage to go in for the next fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And you now start having, I think KSW's had it. You've got LFL having it in the Holland Open Arena tournament. No, like open arena like events. How would you like to fight in like a stadium or that? I know Octagon's done it as well.
Yeah, yeah, they do look good. To be fair, I think I can't remember the promotion that did it in like the Colosseum. I think it might have been Octagon. To be fair, that looks great. Yeah, because yeah, it looks like a good scenery. Although in the cage, you don't really. Once you're in the cage, you're in the cage, you know. But looking back on it, it would be nice to be like in a nice open, sunny arena as you beat someone up. That'd be yeah, could definitely be a nice place to be.
So I'm guessing that's not going to be in the UK then.
No, yeah, and if you want brain, yeah, unless you hit it on a sunny day.
Well, I'll let you get going and prepare for your fight against Brett. We can't wait to see you get another spinning elbow knockout, and we'll see you in that final. Is there anything you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
No, no, that's all good.
Well, we can't wait to see you get that 500,000 and we'll be able to see what next. Thank you for coming on.
Yes.